Steve. Welcome to my backyard. Today I'm looking at a couple of trees that, you have a tree, you stick it in a bigger pot, even if it's in a smaller pot, and you forget about it. Well, it's time to look at these trees. They've been growing in my yard for some time. This is an elm tree, I'm pretty sure, and this is a maple of some sort, not a red maple. I think possibly a sugar maple, but I don't know my maples. So first thing I got to do is release this one from its prison here. Its roots have grown down into this other pot. So I happen to have my ugly shears. I'll see what I can do. My intention, oh, that was a thick one. My intention is to plant up a lot of these, possibly in baskets, get them really growing nice, for future bonsai if they show that kind of potential. I'm just going to trim away these roots at the bottom because otherwise I can't get them out of the pot, even though I'm not doing that now. Everything's pretty dormant. I say everything's pretty dormant, but I don't know if you can see that. This little bud right here is green. So being in the greenhouse isn't all that good. Okay, this one's out. So I'll put that aside. I'm going to put it somewhere else. This one, this elm tree, which I hope you can see, is way on the end of that pot. But it's got a decent base down there and kind of nice movement to it. So I want to do something with it. Here's some fine branching starting. Obviously, I don't want this long leader. I'd rather this be my new leader. So with that in mind, leaving a bit for dieback, I'm going to take this off on an angle. There we go. All right. What does that leave me? It leaves me two splayed trees. Not looking beautiful, but not bad either. You know what? Let me get a healthier shears. Okay. So, I'm sure this will have many fronts over the years. But for right now, I'm looking at it like this as the front. So I'm just going to shorten this to an outward facing bud. I'm going to shorten this little tip here. I like that this bifurcates, but it's really straight. So I'm going to cut it here and just go for the movement there. This one I want to trim to here. That may end up coming off, but I want to leave it on for the health of the tree right now. And this one, I've got a downward facing bud there and one facing front in behind it. So if that's a live branch, great. Now this one, I want to continue growing up, and here's an upward facing bud there. All right, not much left, but that's my elm. And here's that maple. So if I look at it from this view, let me come around. From about this view, I have use for almost every one of those branches in a composition. They all do something. I could get some wire on this, although this is pretty stiff. I think I'd rather try clip and grow. It it will save me from having to make the decisions about whether or not anything's going to grow from there. Um, so right now, I'm just looking for bud placement and long, straight things that maybe should be shortened. And I like the movement right at the base. Goes up and to the right. There's a little bit of a reverse taper here, but it tapers again there nicely. This long straight branch is too low. I'm going to get rid of that. It's the one that's showing the bud, but it's too low. I don't want this to thicken up anymore right here. I want it to thicken up below. I don't know if this is helping or hurting that. All right. So what's really bothering me is this long straight piece, even to here. If I cut it here, I'm going to get some movement. I know this is a live branch because there is vitality in, there is green in those buds. But this straight piece, you know what? I'm going to play chicken here and just go for movement. Chicken meaning I'm cutting it up here where I know there's a branch rather than here where I hope one would grow from. So praying for back budding as I always do and just taking the whole top off. I will be sealing these wounds before I put them outside with wood glue, like an exterior wood glue, so it should be okay. Let me just take that stub off. Demonstrates the amount of dieback I can expect. So definitely want to seal this up. And I'm going to shorten this. I've got buds here and here, which is the best I can hope for. Well, I'm going to go for here. All right, that shortens up my maple. On to the American hornbeam. Those I want to look at a little closer. This is an American hornbeam. I think I mentioned these were from trees that were growing on the median in Queens Boulevard in Long Island City. That's where I got the seeds from. That's where the parent tree is from. And I got about 15 of them. I pulled 7 of them into the greenhouse with the intention of doing another park planting, initially in a seed tray, so the roots all mesh, and I can think about what type of landscape I want with it. I can see a little bit of the dormancy breaking. It is only mid-January right now, and I'm a little worried about that. I wanted to get these all pruned up and back outside underneath my display benches. But I didn't make that, so I'm just going to look at these and prune them up lightly. I'm not going to let you have to sit through every single one of them, but I want you to see what I'm doing, and then I'll show them all to you at the end. Okay, in terms of overall height with a canopy on it, I kind of like it right about here. So I'm going to prune back some of these to outward facing buds. This is 2 coming from one spot. All right, I'll go down low. I'll prune this off here. I want to zoom in on this. I love the gentle movement of this trunk, just back and forth, zigzag. It's kind of what happens in the branches as well when you prune them correctly, which I'm hoping to do. So I'm looking at this one again. That's kind of funny. So I'm going to go back to this right here. All right. This is getting awful long. This branch growing into the inside isn't doing me any good. Off it comes. I want to shorten this. I want to shorten this. I'm hoping that sends something out in this direction. And down low here, I don't know what kind of life I have. I see buds way back there, but let me trim this off. That one might have been dead. Let me trim this thick part off here and prune that back to there. It's a little high still. I'm going to go back to there, to there. Yeah, so that's got that one all pruned up with one back here. Okay, next. Okay, this is that short squat one. I wanted to get a better view, move things around. First things first, I don't know where the front on this will be, although that looks kind of nice right there. So I want to take an old stub off here. Like that. This is essentially a stub here. I'm going to take this branch back to here, and I'm probably going to wire this out or somehow wedge it out or encourage growth out that way. You know what? I am going to do that. I'm going to take it right off. I don't love how this angle is coming out, but it's fine for now. This one, probably dead. This one goes back on itself. I'm going to cut it to here. There's a bud out this way. Maybe some growth will develop in that direction. I'll take this right off. And I'm going to shorten this to here. I mean, I'm not sure where I'm going to go with this. I'll either choose this as the leader or this as the leader. So I'm going to let them both do their thing, cutting them back short. That was dead, but there's a live bud back there. And this nice little weak branch, I'm going to cut it to here. Okay, this is just 7 out of 15 or so American hornbeam I have, so hopefully I won't have made a mistake along the way. And I'll seal these wounds. And this is nice. I love how this curves this way. And I love that I know that I can get that sort of movement in the branches if I really work at it. All right, so let me just go in and take prior pruning stubs off. Anything that looks dead. All right. So here again, I could make this the leader. I could make this the leader. This is already a strong leader. But how tall do I want these trees? This one, I kind of like what's happening up here. I'll pick an angle, but I'm going to take this top off. And aside from, all right, that's better. Aside from just shortening things down, I like the way this tree is progressing in terms of my vision of what I want this little park setting to be. I'm also going to take this off right here. And then just some tips. Things look like they've died back somewhat. And I don't really know what I'm cutting back to is viable, if what I'm cutting back to is viable. So once again, I'm relying on the fact that I've collected quite a few of these trees, and this is an experiment. I'm sure you've got a lot of these things lying around in your yard too that you've been saying, what do you think I can do with this? And it doesn't strike you at the time, but if you think about it, over time, the answer will come to you. That's it for this tree. Wait, no. There's an outward facing bud there, which means this middle comes out. Okay. Grabbing another. You know what? I think I'm going to go in fast time from here on out. All right, I've decided to slow this last one down because I've made some, tough decisions on other branches, but I just want you to see my thought process here. Okay, these long whips at the top, they obviously have to come off, so I'm not that worried about them. I can take this down to here and not be that worried about it, but this is real thick then. I think the better cut is right here. Yeah. All right. Here I go. Top's gone. Okay, so this puts it in more scale with the other trees, makes it more believable as a park setting. Some real small internodes on that branch. This branch, I don't know if it's alive, but if it is, I can use it. outward facing bud. And I like this as my new leader, unless this does something other than look like a branch. This will probably come off as that takes off, or maybe right now. Okay, this is what I was saying. This is why I wanted to slow this one down. I know when I see other practitioners make big cuts, I'm always cringing and going, oh no, oh no. Um, but I'm braver in these instances, and I have you all to thank for that. So thank you. This is dead. Here's a branch that divided. This one must be dead. And this has an outward facing segment there. Let's just shape this new apex. I really should get my Chinese elm forest outside also. But I kind of wanted it to break dormancy in the greenhouse, as early as that is. Might not be good for it, but I really, really want to encourage root growth this year. I want to get that into a pot next year. All right, so this is the last one. This one is done. So that's it for today's episode of Steve's Backyard Bonsai. I hope you'll join me again. I hope you'll follow the progress of these American hornbeam. There was one thing I did want to mention with these. This past season, in the height of the summer, I moved some of them out of the shade and onto my bench to see what the difference was. The ones that were in the shade stayed beautiful. The ones that were in the sun, which were getting watered regularly, the leaves became dry looking. I ended up putting them back in the shade, and they didn't progress as well. Those are the ones that I had that didn't have the long growth. They were stunted in the sun. So I learned something about these trees, which is good for me because now I know where to put them to grow out this summer. All right. Thank you once again from Steve's Backyard. I appreciate you all coming. Please subscribe. Good morning. It's Steve, and Luca and I are running around in the backyard. Well, Luca's running around the backyard. I just want to show you something. I got a little worried about them because I started seeing some breaking of dormancy. This is I don't know, it's kind of a grape vine of some sort that was growing in my yard. I'm not getting it focused, am I? This is a wisteria from a cutting, which I cut way back. It was like 4 feet tall, just wavy stuff. So it's now back to wood, and let's see what I can grow out of it. These are maples of various types that were in the yard. Nigel, I always think of his sticks in a pot. Some of these are that. This one I pruned up on video just a couple days ago. And these are the hornbeam, American hornbeam, that are getting ready for a small tray forest planting. I can get them pretty close together, but I do want them to have nice canopies of their own. This is going to be a park setting with a walk, and that's what I'm planning for the spring. So these are going to go under the bench now and be with all my others. somewhat protected. I also have trees back behind my garage that are in mulch. They're a little further along in their development, and we'll look at those in the spring as well. Luca. Oh, we're getting a package. Loves those. Where are you going with the ball? Getting me dizzy. Get it, get it. Good boy. Good boy. So just wishing you goodbye from my backyard.